Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am so grateful you have joined me today. And I can't wait to dive into something that has the power to change your life. The secret to understanding what women truly love lies not in grand gestures or fleeting displays of affection, but in mastering the art of authentic connection. What makes this understanding profound is that only a rare group of men, a mere 1%, truly embody these principles. These men stand apart not because of their external achievements, but because of how they touch the hearts of those around them. The first thing women love is a man who listens, not just with his ears, but with his heart. Listening isn't waiting for your turn to speak. It's diving into the depths of what she feels, catching every nuance in her words, and acknowledging her reality. Few men grasp that when a woman feels heard, she feels valued. Next, women treasure emotional support. Life's battles can be heavy, and a man who stands firm as her pillar of strength is invaluable. To be present in her highs and lows, to remind her she's not alone, this is where true partnership begins. It's not about solving her problems, it's about holding space for her in the midst of them. And then there's vulnerability. So many men believe they must wear an armor of invincibility, but the greatest strength lies in being authentic. When you allow her to see your fears, your doubts, and your dreams, you're telling her, I trust you with the deepest parts of me. This openness is the foundation of trust. Trust grows further when actions align with words. Consistency is love's greatest ally. When your promises transform into reality, when your yes means yes and your no means no, you create a bond that cannot be shaken. Women don't love perfection, they love reliability. But respect is non-negotiable. Respect is the lens through which she views your every word, your every action. It's how you treat her when no one's watching and when the world is. Respect is valuing her mind, honoring her voice, and cherishing her spirit. And let us not forget individuality. Every woman is a masterpiece, uniquely crafted with gifts, talents, and dreams. Celebrate her uniqueness, encourage her to grow, to shine, to conquer her world without dimming her light. A man who supports her journey instead of competing with it is truly extraordinary. What ties it all together is emotional connection. Physical attraction fades, but the bond of two souls, that's eternal. Seek to understand her heart, to nurture her spirit, and to create a love so deep that it transforms both of you. Brothers, these are the things women love, but only the rarest among us embody. These are not just actions, they are lifestyle. A lifestyle rooted in love, respect, and understanding. To become this 1% is not just a gift to her, but a transformation for you. Let's rise to this standard, not for applause, but for the legacy we leave in the hearts of those we love. Listening is one of the most profound gifts you can offer to a woman. It goes beyond the simple act of hearing words. It is about immersing yourself in the essence of what she is communicating. When a woman speaks, she is not just sharing information, she is revealing her thoughts, her emotions, and the layers of her heart. True listening requires you to pause, set aside your own agenda, and give her your undivided attention. Many men make the mistake of listening to respond rather than listening to understand. They rush to provide solutions or interject with their own stories, missing the deeper meaning of her words. But what women truly value is a man who listens with his whole being, his eyes, his posture, and his heart. It's about being fully present without distractions, so she feels that in that moment, nothing matters more than her voice. Listening with intent also means recognizing the unspoken. Women often communicate through subtle cues: her tone, her body language, the pauses between her words. A man who listens with depth picks up on these signals and responds with empathy and understanding. This kind of listening is not about fixing problems. It's about creating a space where she feels safe, valued, and understood. It is in these moments of intentional listening that trust is built. When she feels heard, she feels seen. When she feels seen, she feels loved. And when she feels loved, a bond is created that words alone cannot describe. Listening is not passive. It is an active expression of love. It says, I value who you are, and I am here to understand you fully. This is the essence of connection that every woman desires. Emotional support is the foundation of a strong and enduring relationship. It is not just about being present physically. It is about showing up emotionally in moments when she needs it the most. Life brings its share of challenges, disappointments, and uncertainties. And in those moments, a woman needs to know she has someone who stands firmly by her side. Providing emotional support begins with creating an atmosphere where she feels safe to express herself. It means allowing her to be vulnerable without fear of judgment or rejection. When she shares her worries, frustrations, or fears, she's not necessarily looking for solutions. She's looking for understanding. A man who can resist the urge to fix everything and instead offer a listening ear and a compassionate heart provides a kind of comfort that words alone cannot deliver. It's also about being present during the highs and the lows. Celebrate her victories, no matter how small, and reassure her during her struggles. Emotional support means being her cheerleader when she's pursuing her dreams, and her anchor when she feels lost. It's not about having all the answers, but about showing her that she doesn't have to face life's battles alone. This kind of support requires patience and empathy. Sometimes it's as simple as a reassuring word, a thoughtful gesture, or even just sitting quietly together. At other times, it's about holding her when she needs to cry, encouraging her when she feels defeated, and reminding her of her worth when she begins to doubt herself. True emotional support is consistent. It's not conditional or based on convenience. It communicates a powerful message. I see you, I hear you, and I'm here for you no matter what. This unwavering presence becomes a source of strength and comfort, making her feel deeply loved and valued. Expressing vulnerability is one of the most courageous acts a man can offer in a relationship. It is the willingness to open up and share the parts of himself that are not polished or perfect, the parts that reveal his humanity. For many men, vulnerability is seen as a sign of weakness, but in reality, it is a profound demonstration of strength. It shows a woman that he is willing to let down his guard and trust her with the deeper layers of his being. Vulnerability is about being honest about your fears, struggles, and insecurities. It's admitting when you're scared, uncertain, or feeling inadequate. This openness creates an atmosphere of authenticity that fosters deeper emotional intimacy. When a man expresses vulnerability, he invites a woman into a sacred space where trust and understanding can flourish. It tells her that she is not just an observer in his life, but a partner he values enough to share his inner world with. This kind of honesty also breaks down walls. It dissolves the facade of perfection that many men try to uphold. A woman doesn't need a man who appears invincible. She needs one who is real. Vulnerability allows her to see the depth of his character, his resilience, and his willingness to grow. It also reassures her that she is not alone in her own struggles, as she sees his willingness to navigate life's challenges alongside her. Being vulnerable doesn't mean sharing everything at once. It's about allowing her to gradually see the real you. It's in the small moments of confession, the quiet admissions of doubt, and the shared dreams that vulnerability becomes a bridge. This openness strengthens the connection, deepens mutual respect, and nurtures a bond that can weather any storm. Consistency in actions is one of the most important elements of building trust and security in a relationship. It is the steady rhythm of reliability that reassures a woman she can count on you, not just in the best of times, but in every season of life. Words alone, no matter how eloquent, lose their meaning when they're not matched by actions. Consistency is what transforms promises into realities and intentions into tangible proof of love. And a consistent man is dependable. He keeps his word and follows through on his commitments, whether big or small. If he says he will be there, he shows up. If he makes a promise, he fulfills it. This reliability communicates respect, care, and a sense of stability that every woman deeply values. Inconsistency, on the other hand, breeds doubt and uncertainty, making it difficult for her to feel secure in the relationship. Consistency is also about behavior over time. It's easy to show up in the beginning, to impress and pursue, but true consistency is seen in how a man maintains his efforts, even after the initial excitement fades. It's the regular acts of kindness, the steady communication, and the ongoing prioritization of the relationship that demonstrate genuine commitment. It extends beyond grand gestures to the everyday moments that matter most. It's being present, showing patience, and treating her with respect regardless of circumstances. It's not about being perfect, but about being steady, showing her that your intentions and actions align over time. This consistency builds trust, which is the foundation of any meaningful connection. A woman needs to know that your actions will not waver when life gets tough or when emotions run high. Consistency proves that your love is not fleeting or circumstantial, but something she can rely on with confidence and peace. Unwavering respect is the cornerstone of a healthy and thriving relationship. It is the recognition of a woman's inherent value, dignity, and individuality, and it permeates every interaction, whether in public or private. Respect goes far beyond words. It is reflected in attitudes, behaviors, and choices. It is not something a man gives only when it's easy or convenient. It is a constant and deliberate practice that honors her worth in all circumstances. Respect begins with how a man views a woman, not as someone to be controlled or dominated, but as an equal partner with her own dreams, opinions, and identity. It means listening to her without interrupting, valuing her contributions, and appreciating her perspective even when it differs from his own. It's about understanding that she is not there to fulfill a role, but to share a journey as a unique and dynamic individual. Unwavering respect also shows in how a man speaks to and about a woman. Words have power, and the way he communicates, whether in moments of agreement or disagreement, reveals the depth of his regard for her. Criticism, sarcasm, or dismissiveness erodes respect, while encouragement, affirmation, and constructive dialogue build it. Respect is equally evident in actions. It's demonstrated in honoring boundaries, cherishing her feelings, and prioritizing her well-being. It's about making choices that reflect care and consideration even when she's not around. True respect means being consistent in integrity, showing the same level of honor whether she is present or absent. Ultimately, respect is about uplifting her. Not because she asks for it, but because she deserves it. It is not conditional on how she acts or responds. It is rooted in the understanding that her value is intrinsic. This unwavering respect forms the foundation for love, trust, and mutual growth. Celebrating individuality is about recognizing, appreciating, and honoring the unique qualities that make a woman who she is. Every woman is a blend of experiences, dreams, talents, and aspirations that set her apart. And a man who truly celebrates her individuality becomes a source of encouragement and strength in her life. This begins with seeing her for who she is, not who you want her to be. It means appreciating her strengths and abilities without feeling threatened or overshadowed by them. When a man encourages a woman to pursue her passions, explore her interests, and embrace her uniqueness, he communicates that her identity is valued beyond the roles she fulfills. Celebrating individuality also involves taking the time to understand her. It's about being genuinely interested in her thoughts, values, and dreams. It means noticing the little things that make her happy, respecting her quirks, and valuing her opinions, even when they differ from your own. This kind of attentiveness creates a sense of belonging where she feels accepted for who she truly is. A man who celebrates a woman's individuality doesn't compete with her or try to diminish her light. Instead, he creates an environment where she feels safe to shine. He becomes her greatest supporter, cheering her on as she achieves her goals and evolves into her best self. This support is not about controlling or taking credit for her growth, but about empowering her to reach her full potential. It's also about standing by her when she takes risks, learns from failures, and embarks on new journeys. By embracing her individuality, you show her that she is not defined by societal expectations or external pressures, but by the beauty of her unique essence. This celebration fosters mutual respect, love, and a bond that is deeply rooted in authenticity. Prioritizing emotional connection is about going beyond surface-level interactions and cultivating a bond that is deeply rooted in understanding, empathy, and shared experiences. It's the intentional effort to connect with a woman's heart and soul, creating a space where both individuals feel seen, valued, and understood. Emotional connection begins with presence. It means being fully engaged when you are together, not distracted by external factors or preoccupied with your own thoughts. A woman can sense when you are genuinely invested in the moment, and this presence fosters trust and a sense of security. When she feels that your focus is on her, not just her words, but her emotions and unspoken feelings, she knows that her inner world matters to you. Communication is also a vital aspect of emotional connection. It's not just about talking, but about sharing meaningful conversations that allow both individuals to express their thoughts and emotions openly, asking thoughtful questions, being attentive to her responses, and showing genuine curiosity about her perspectives create a depth that goes far beyond casual exchanges. Empathy plays a critical role in building this connection. It's about stepping into her shoes, feeling what she feels, and responding with kindness and understanding. Whether she is celebrating a victory or navigating a challenge, your ability to align with her emotions shows her that you care deeply about her experiences. Prioritizing emotional connection also involves vulnerability. Sharing your own feelings and experiences helps to create a mutual sense of closeness. It demonstrates that you trust her enough to let her into your inner world, which in turn encourages her to do the same. This connection is nurtured through consistency, patience, and intentional effort. It's about valuing her for who she is at her core. and building a relationship that thrives on shared emotional intimacy, creating a bond that stands the test of time. The essence of a truly meaningful relationship lies in the depth of connection, the authenticity of respect, and the consistency of love. To embody the principles women cherish is to rise above the ordinary and commit to becoming a man of integrity, understanding, and purpose. These 7 things are not just acts, but a lifestyle, a daily choice to listen with intent, offer unwavering support, show vulnerability, and live with consistency. Respect her individuality, celebrate her uniqueness, and prioritize the emotional bond that ties you together. When you choose to embrace these values, you not only honor her, but transform yourself into the kind of man who inspires trust, admiration, and love. The strongest relationships are built not on fleeting moments, but on a foundation of mutual growth, shared understanding, and enduring respect. Be the one who sets the standard, not for applause or recognition, but because it is the highest calling of love. Leave a legacy that shows love is not just something you say, it is something you consistently live. Hello everyone and welcome back. I am so grateful you have joined me today, and I can't wait to dive into something that has the power to change your life. You see, the world is filled with people who may try to disrupt your peace, break your spirit, or manipulate your emotions for their own benefit. But you must rise above it all, knowing that your strength and wisdom can outsmart anyone who seeks to harm you. The key to navigating such toxic influences is understanding that your worth is not defined by others. It is rooted deep within you. When you recognize your value, you will no longer allow anyone to disrespect or diminish you. Your worth is untouchable. So you stand firm with clear boundaries, never wavering in your resolve. Boundaries are not walls. They are the lines you draw to protect your energy, your peace, and your future. And it starts with emotional control. Never let someone dictate how you feel. A toxic person may try to push your buttons, stir up confusion, or create chaos, but your response must always be calm, measured, and rooted in clarity. You have the power to choose peace no matter the storm they bring. It's also crucial to learn to recognize the red flags early. A toxic person will show their true colors eventually, whether it's manipulation, guilt-tripping, or dishonesty. Trust your instincts and take action when you see the signs. Don't wait for things to escalate. The sooner you act, the sooner you can protect yourself from harm. Avoid power struggles. Toxic individuals thrive on control, and the moment you engage in their game, you lose. You're not here to fight for dominance or prove a point. You're here to live your best life, to build something meaningful. Don't let their drama pull you into unnecessary conflict. And above all, protect your peace. Life is too short to spend it battling negativity. Cultivate relationships that nourish you, that build you up, and protect your heart from anyone who seeks to destroy your happiness. You deserve that peace. But there will come a time when the greatest power you possess is knowing when to walk away. You don't have to engage. You don't have to fix them. Sometimes the greatest way to outsmart a toxic man is to simply remove them from your life. No explanation needed, no guilt to carry. Walk away and reclaim your peace. Remember this: you are a force to be reckoned with, a woman of strength and wisdom. You don't need to fight to prove your worth. You simply need to live in your truth. And when you do, no toxic individual can touch you. You are untouchable, unstoppable, and worthy of everything good life has to offer. Self-worth and confidence are the bedrock of your ability to stand strong in the face of adversity, particularly when dealing with toxic individuals. The foundation of self-worth lies in recognizing your intrinsic value, regardless of external validation. This understanding empowers you to rise above manipulation or mistreatment because you no longer seek approval from others to feel complete. But when you know your worth, you are no longer willing to accept anything less than respect and kindness in your relationships. Your sense of self does not waver with others' opinions or actions. Confidence stems from a deep trust in your abilities, strengths, and wisdom. It is not arrogance, but rather the quiet assurance that you are capable of handling whatever life presents. A confident person does not feel threatened by the negativity or toxicity of others because they understand that no one can diminish their value unless they allow it. This confidence creates an impenetrable shield against the poisonous words or actions of toxic individuals. In building self-worth and confidence, you must also learn to stop internalizing the criticism or manipulation of others. Toxic people often project their insecurities onto those around them, attempting to make you feel small so they can feel bigger. But a strong sense of self allows you to see this for what it is, an attempt to control and undermine. With this understanding, you will no longer be susceptible to their toxic influence. You will rise above it, rooted in the unshakable truth of your own value. Clear boundaries are essential to preserving your peace, protecting your energy. They are not just physical lines, emotional and psychological markers that define what is acceptable and what is not, or interaction with others. When establish clear boundaries, you are telling the world, and more importantly, yourself, what you will tolerate and what you will not. This act is a declaration of self-respect and self-care. It's about recognizing your own needs, your own limits, and having the courage to stand by them. In dealing with toxic individuals, boundaries act as a protective shield. Toxic people often thrive on crossing personal boundaries, manipulating situations to their advantage, or making others feel responsible for their behavior. But when you know your limits and express them clearly, you refuse to participate in such dynamics. Setting boundaries means being firm in your decisions and not allowing guilt, manipulation, or emotional blackmail to push you into compromising your peace. The constant consequence of your acts is losing favorable jobs with others, loss of relatives, and honor more than that of guilt, manipulation, or emotional blackmail to push you into compromising your peace. It's a statement that your well-being comes first, and anyone who seeks to diminish that will no longer have access to your energy. Boundaries are not meant to isolate, but to ensure that you are engaging with others in a way that honors your emotional and mental space. A toxic person may try to test those boundaries, pushing against them to see how far they can go, but the key is consistency. Boundaries work best when they are communicated with clarity and maintained with resolve. This teaches others how to treat you and signals that your peace is non-negotiable. When boundaries are respected, you create an environment where trust, mutual respect, and healthy relationships can flourish. Emotional control is the ability to respond to situations with clarity, composure, and maturity, regardless of external circumstances. It is an essential skill, especially when dealing with toxic individuals who often try to provoke emotional reactions to manipulate or control you. When you master emotional control, you reclaim your power over how you respond to others, no longer allowing anyone to pull you into their drama or chaos. The key is to remain grounded in your own sense of peace, no matter how chaotic or toxic the situation may become. A toxic person's goal is often to provoke an emotional outburst, whether through criticism, manipulation, or aggressive behavior. They feed off the energy that your reaction provides. But when you remain emotionally controlled, you deny them that energy. You choose to respond with logic and reason, rather than reacting impulsively. Or this doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or ignoring your emotions. It means taking a step back and allowing yourself the space to process them before responding. This space allows you to make a conscious choice about how to engage rather than being led by reactive emotion. Emotional control also involves knowing when to disengage and when to walk away. Toxic individuals often escalate situations, attempting to drag you into conflict. The ability to remain calm in these moments prevents the situation from spiraling out of control. When you don't allow your emotions to be manipulated, you maintain control of the interaction, asserting your boundaries and your peace. This emotional resilience builds over time as you practice mindfulness, self-awareness, and patience. Understanding that how others behave is beyond your control, but how you respond is entirely within your power. Recognizing red flags early is a vital skill in protecting yourself from toxic individuals and relationships. It begins with being attuned to your intuition and paying attention to behaviors or actions that make you uncomfortable or feel off. Often, toxic people show their true colors early on, but many fail to notice the signs because they are too focused on potential or the idea of what the relationship could be. Red flags, however, are not always as obvious as blatant disrespect or cruelty. Sometimes they manifest as subtle manipulations, passive-aggressive comments, or inconsistency in behavior that creates confusion and doubt. One common red flag is the inconsistency between words and actions. A person may say one thing but consistently do another, which creates a sense of mistrust. Another red flag is a lack of accountability. Toxic individuals rarely take responsibility for their mistakes, often deflecting blame or making excuses for their harmful actions. This behavior may make you feel like you're always in the wrong, even when you haven't done anything wrong. Similarly, a toxic person may try to isolate you from your friends, family, or support system, subtly undermining your relationships with others to increase their control over you. A red flag also appears when you feel emotionally drained after interacting with someone. If you leave conversations or in encounters feeling worse about yourself, confused or uncertain, that's a strong indicator that something is wrong. Recognizing these early warning signs allows you to set boundaries or distance yourself before the situation escalates into something more harmful. Trusting your instincts and not dismissing these early signals is critical. When you acknowledge red flags and take action to protect yourself, you are taking control of your emotional health and creating a foundation for healthier, more positive relationships. Avoiding power struggles is essential when dealing with toxic individuals who thrive on control and manipulation. These individuals often seek to dominate conversations, relationships, and situations by drawing others into conflicts that serve their own interests. The moment you engage in a power struggle, you step into their game, giving them the upper hand in the interaction. Toxic people are skilled at pushing buttons, and they may try to provoke you into arguing, defending yourself, or justifying your actions. Their aim is not resolution, but control. By refusing to engage in these struggles, you disarm the toxic person and regain control over your emotional energy. Power struggles are draining both mentally and emotionally, and they rarely lead to productive outcomes. Instead, they perpetuate a cycle of conflict and resentment, leaving both parties feeling unsettled and unsatisfied. When you recognize that engaging in these struggles is futile, you choose to redirect your focus toward what truly matters: your peace, your goals, and your personal growth. Remaining disengaged doesn't mean avoiding necessary confrontation or allowing harmful behavior to persist. It means choosing not to get entangled in emotional warfare. When you stay calm and assertive without resorting to force or manipulation, you maintain a position of strength. By not reacting to toxic attempts at control, you keep your energy focused on what is important, such as building healthy relationships, achieving your goals, and nurturing your well-being. This approach not only protects your peace, but it also signals to toxic individuals that their games won't work with you. You are not interested in fighting for dominance, but in living a life that aligns with your values and aspirations. Protecting your peace is one of the most powerful acts of self-care you can practice, especially when dealing with toxic people who thrive on chaos and conflict. Your peace is your emotional and mental sanctuary, a space where you can reflect, grow, and be your authentic self without being weighed down by negativity. In order to protect your peace, you must first recognize its value and understand that it is non-negotiable. Toxic individuals will often try to disrupt your peace through their words, actions, or behaviors, and if you allow them to do so, you give them power over your emotional state. The key to protecting your peace is learning to set clear boundaries that create a safe, stable space where you can thrive. This means not allowing others to manipulate your emotions, invade your personal space, or drain your energy. It's about recognizing when a situation is escalating and choosing to step back, disengage, or walk away, rather than engage in drama or conflict. Protecting your peace requires self-discipline and the ability to recognize when to say no, even when doing so may cause temporary discomfort or disappointment to others. Your peace is worth more than any fleeting moment of approval or validation from toxic individuals. Another important aspect of protecting your peace is cultivating emotional resilience. This involves staying centered and grounded, no matter what is happening around you. It's about maintaining control over your reactions and not allowing external chaos to dictate your inner state. When you protect your peace, you allow yourself to focus on what truly matters: your well-being, your personal growth, and your positive relationships. Protecting your peace is an ongoing practice, one that requires vigilance, commitment, and the understanding that your mental and emotional health must come first. Knowing when to walk away is a vital skill in protecting your well-being, particularly when dealing with toxic individuals. It requires wisdom, discernment, and the courage to accept that not every relationship, situation, or conflict is worth your time and energy. Walking away doesn't signify failure or weakness. It is a powerful act of self-respect and emotional intelligence. It is understanding that your peace, your happiness, and your future are more important than engaging with someone who refuses to change or respect you. Toxic people often try to keep you trapped in unhealthy cycles, using manipulation, guilt, or emotional coercion to maintain their grip on you. The longer you stay in these toxic dynamics, the more your emotional and mental health can deteriorate. Recognizing when it's time to walk away involves seeing the signs early, the repetitive patterns of behavior, the lack of accountability, and the continuous draining of your energy. And you see, once these patterns become clear, it's crucial to act decisively. Prolonging the relationship or situation only prolongs the harm it causes. Walking away also means accepting that you cannot fix everyone or change someone's deeply ingrained toxic behaviors. Some people will never be willing to acknowledge their harmful actions, let alone change them. And that's okay. You are not responsible for their growth or healing. You are responsible for your own. Choosing to walk away is an act of prioritizing yourself, knowing that you deserve healthier, more fulfilling connections. Sometimes walking away may feel difficult, especially when emotions are involved or when you fear the consequences of leaving. But it is often the only way to break free from a toxic cycle and regain your peace. It's an act of empowerment that signals to yourself and to others that you are not willing to settle for anything less than what you truly in life, your peace, your mental well-being, and your self-respect are priceless. Never allow anyone, especially a toxic person, to disrupt what you've worked so hard to build. Recognize your worth, set clear boundaries, maintain emotional control, and trust your instincts. The moment you realize that your energy is being drained or your peace is under threat, know that it's time to take action. Walk away from anything or anyone that compromises your happiness. And remember that choosing to protect your well-being is the most empowering decision you can make. You are worthy of love, respect, and kindness, and you have the strength to create a life where toxicity has no place. Let your actions speak the truth of who you are, strong, resilient, and unshakable in your commitment to live a life that aligns with your highest values. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am so grateful you have joined me today. And I can't wait to dive into something that has the power to change your life. A wise woman understands that her values are the foundation of her identity and the compass that guides her decisions. These values are not just beliefs, they are the principles that define who she is at her core. She recognizes that compromising her values, even for a moment, can lead to a lifetime of regret. This is why she refuses to trade her integrity for temporary acceptance or validation from others. In a world that often rewards conformity, the pressure to fit in can be overwhelming. Society may demand that she alter her beliefs to align with popular opinion or lower her standards to gain approval. However, a wise woman knows that the approval of others is fleeting and cannot fill the void left by abandoning her principles. She does not need external validation to affirm her worth because she understands that her value is intrinsic and not dependent on the opinions of others. The temptation to compromise can come in many forms. It may be the allure of relationships that promise love but require her to betray her standards. It might be career opportunities that demand she cut ethical corners to succeed. It could even be the silent pressure to go along with the crowd to avoid standing out. In all these situations, a wise woman chooses to remain steadfast. She would rather face rejection than lose the essence of who she is. A refusal to compromise is not a sign of arrogance or stubbornness, but of deep self-respect. She knows that compromising her values for acceptance creates a cycle of dependency on others' approval. Instead, she stands firm, grounded in her principles, knowing that true peace comes from living in alignment with her core beliefs. Her strength lies in her unwavering commitment to what she knows is right. A wise woman understands that relationships play a significant role in shaping her life, her mindset, and her future. She recognizes that not all relationships are created equal, and some can drain her potential rather than nurture it. With this wisdom, she carefully evaluates the people she allows into her life, knowing that the wrong connections can hinder her progress, sap her energy, and divert her from her purpose. She avoids relationships that leave her feeling depleted, undervalued, or unappreciated. These are the relationships that take much but give little in return. Whether it is a friendship, a romantic relationship, or even a professional connection, she identifies the signs of imbalance early. She knows that relationships should be mutual, a space where both parties grow and thrive. When she encounters those who only take from her without offering support, encouragement, or genuine care, she distances herself with grace and clarity. A wise woman is also aware of the impact of toxic relationships on her emotional and mental well-being. She understands that staying in connections filled with negativity, manipulation, or constant conflict can erode her self-esteem and cloud her vision for the future. She values her peace and purpose too much to sacrifice them for the sake of maintaining unhealthy ties. Value present. She is intentional about surrounding herself with people who inspire, uplift, and challenge her to become the best version of herself. She invests in relationships that align with her goals, values, and aspirations, knowing these connections fuel her potential and help her grow. She is not afraid to let go of relationships that hinder her journey, trusting that making room for the right people is an act of self-respect and wisdom. Through discernment and courage, she protects her potential and remains focused on her path. A wise woman understands that fear of failure is one of the greatest obstacles to growth and fulfillment. She recognizes that failure is not an enemy, but a necessary part of life's journey. Instead of being paralyzed by the possibility of failing, she chooses to see it as a stepping stone to success and an opportunity to learn. She knows that fear is a natural emotion, but she refuses to let it dictate her choices or limit her potential. Living in fear of failure often leads to stagnation, where dreams are abandoned and opportunities are missed. A wise woman is aware of this trap and refuses to let her life be governed by what might go wrong. She understands that the fear of failure often stems from the fear of judgment or rejection from others. But she does not allow their opinions to weigh her down. Her focus is not on perfection, but on progress. And she values the lessons that come from mistakes just as much as the victories. This is what inspires the creative genius that is Heine. She knows that failure is not a reflection of her worth or ability, but a part of the process of achieving greatness. Each setback becomes a teacher, revealing areas of growth and new strategies for moving forward. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, she reflects, recalibrates, and takes action again with greater wisdom and resilience. She embraces risks and challenges, fully aware that the rewards of stepping out of her comfort zone far outweigh the cost of staying safe and small. A wise woman believes that courage is not the absence of fear, but the determination to act in spite of it. By choosing faith over fear and effort over avoidance, she continually expands her horizons, discovering strength she never knew she had. Her refusal to be imprisoned by the fear of failure is what propels her toward purpose and achievement. A wise woman understands that her journey is unique, crafted by purpose and guided by her individual path. She avoids the temptation to compare her progress to others, knowing that comparison is a thief of joy and a distraction from her true calling. She recognizes that every person's life is shaped by different experiences, opportunities, and timing. And trying to measure her worth against someone else's accomplishments only breeds dissatisfaction and self-doubt. She knows that comparison often comes from a place of insecurity or a fear of not being enough. When she sees others achieving milestones, she does not let envy or inadequacy take root in her heart. Instead, she celebrates their success, confident in the knowledge that someone else's triumph does not diminish her own potential. Yea, whoop! The chorus of men sings, inspired by the movie. She is aware that her growth and achievements will come in their due time, and that forcing herself into another person's timeline would rob her of the joy of her unique process. A wise woman also understands that comparison often provides an incomplete picture. Social media, public accolades, and outward appearances can easily create the illusion of perfection in others' lives, but she is not swayed by surface-level impressions. She chooses to focus on her own goals, trusting the process and embracing her personal journey with gratitude and intention. She values progress over perfection and measures her success against her past self, not against others. She takes pride in how far she has come and uses her own growth as the benchmark for her future. By keeping her focus on her path, she avoids unnecessary stress and cultivates contentment. This freedom from comparison allows her to fully embrace her purpose, appreciating every step of her journey for what it truly is, a unique and beautiful story unfolding in its own time. A wise woman understands that her personal development is not a luxury, but a necessity for living a meaningful and purposeful life. She recognizes that growth is a continuous process and makes a deliberate effort to invest in herself. She avoids the trap of neglecting her personal development, knowing that to thrive in any area of life, she must first nurture her mind, body, and spirit. She understands that stagnation comes from complacency, and she refuses to settle for a life of mediocrity. A wise woman seeks opportunities to learn, whether through education, new experiences, or the wisdom of others. She reads books, listens to insightful teachings, and engages in conversations that challenge her thinking and broaden her perspective. She knows that growth requires intentionality, and she prioritizes activities that enrich her knowledge and skills. Neglecting personal development often stems from being consumed by the demands of daily life. But a wise woman does not let busyness become an excuse. She creates time for self-reflection, goal setting, and self-care, understanding that these are essential to her progress. She recognizes that developing herself not only benefits her, but also allows her to contribute more effectively to her relationships, work, and community. She avoids the comfort of staying within her current abilities and challenges herself to step out of her comfort zone. Whether it's learning a new skill, overcoming a personal weakness, or pursuing a long-held dream, she embraces growth with courage and determination. She refuses to let fear or self-doubt hold her back, because she knows that the reward of growth is worth the effort. By prioritizing her personal development, she continuously evolves into the best version of herself. She sees it not as a destination, but as a lifelong journey of becoming, one that requires focus, commitment, and an unshakable belief in her own potential. A wise woman understands the power of her words and actions. She avoids speaking or acting impulsively because she recognizes that hasty decisions often lead to regret. She values thoughtfulness and self-control, knowing that what she says and does has the potential to impact not only her life, but also the lives of those around her. With this understanding, she takes the time to consider her words and choices carefully before expressing or acting on them. She knows that impulsive reactions often come from a place of emotion, anger, frustration, or excitement, and can cloud judgment. Rather than allowing emotions to dictate her behavior, she practices restraint and seeks clarity. When faced with conflict or pressure, she pauses to reflect, ensuring that her response is guided by wisdom rather than impulse. This allows her to maintain her integrity and handle situations with grace and composure. A wise woman also understands that words once spoken cannot be taken back. She avoids saying things in the heat of the moment that might hurt others or damage relationships. She chooses her words deliberately, aiming to build rather than tear down, to heal rather than harm. Similarly, she refrains from making snap decisions that could jeopardize her goals or values. She takes the time to evaluate the consequences of her actions, ensuring they align with her purpose and priorities. By practicing patience and mindfulness, she creates a space for better outcomes. She listens more than she speaks, observes more than she reacts, and thinks before she acts. This intentional approach not only fosters healthier relationships, but also helps her avoid unnecessary mistakes. Her ability to remain calm and measured, even under pressure, reflects her strength and wisdom. Through this, she cultivates a life of harmony, purpose, and respect. A wise woman understands that her life is the sum of her choices. By avoiding the pitfalls of compromise, toxic relationships, fear, comparison, neglect, and impulsiveness, she protects her purpose, preserves her peace, and propels herself toward greatness. Her wisdom lies not in perfection, but in discernment, knowing what to embrace and what to release. Her life becomes a testament to the power of intentional living, showing others that true strength is found in aligning actions with values, prioritizing growth, and remaining steadfast in the face of challenges. A wise woman does not allow the noise of the world to drown out the voice of her purpose. Instead, she walks confidently in her unique path, inspiring others to rise to their highest potential. The message is clear. Wisdom is not inherited. It is cultivated through deliberate choices. Let your life reflect the power of a wise woman, one who dares to live authentically, purposefully, and courageously.